Hey guys, so I was originally going to make this video to celebrate the channel passing 30 subscribers, but as you can see on the channel right now, we are well past 30 subs and it's all thanks to you guys. So instead of making this video about reaching a specific subscriber number, it's now more or less a video celebrating you guys and the support that you've shown the channel as of late. I hope you guys enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay guys, so we're going to start off by loading in the default plane. I built this on my first night of playing, and I haven't really touched it since. It has the default controls, it has some weapons attached so I could use it in PvP, and it just happens to have a jet engine in the front. I mean, it goes 130 miles, well, studs per second, sorry. For anyone who doesn't know, the speed in this game is measured in studs per second. But, I mean, it's just a basic plane. There's not much to say about it. But let's move on to the next build. Okay, guys, so for the second build, this is another build that I built on the first night, but it's been heavily modified as of late, and it's called Jet 1. Because I have two jets in my builds, but you'll see the second one later. This one right here, it looks very clunky, it looks very bad, but with the recent modifications I made to it, with my, 200 plus hours of experience in this game, I made it pretty solid. I mean, it turns on a dime now, it has a lot of guns on it. It fires the rockets with my preferred controls. I mean, this is just so much better than what it was before, because before it was clunky, it felt really slow, and now it just can do everything. But I brought it up second here because, I mean, this was like I was really proud of this build when I first built it on the first night. I thought this was like the coolest thing ever, and now I look back and I'm like, this is awful. But with the improvements I have right now, it's probably my best jet. Okay, guys, so this one is called Better Gun, which implies that I built some guns beforehand. They're no longer in my save files because I've saved over them, but this was the last one that remained. It's a fully auto explosive ball launcher, essentially. It uses magnets and stuff to fire. So if I unanchor this, I can press G to prime it all, and then it just bops it. It just throws them. Now, they would be exploding right now, but they're kind of being thrown off the edge of the map. But this one doesn't really have much use because it's slow, it's hard to aim, it jams a lot, and I'm not super proud of it. But I mean, it was a cool build to make, making something automatic. It just doesn't really have any use because all the explosive balls, they bounce off of their target before they actually explode, so they don't do any damage. And it just takes forever to aim it. So that's why it's at the bottom of my list here for stuff I'm proud of. Let's move on to the next build. Okay, so for this build, well, for the next build, is the shuttle here. It's a space shuttle. It's a tutorial build from GUENFFER, I believe is how you pronounce his name. I'll leave a link to that video down in the description, and I'll link to his channel. But basically, it was a block-by-block build for the most part. I mean, I changed some things like the controls and added a few things to it. But essentially, it flies like a space shuttle, I guess. It doesn't handle too well. It doesn't go insanely fast. It has no PvP weapons. It's just supposed to be a shuttle that can carry you from space down to Earth safely. Unless you are the Challenger or Columbia. Then you're screwed. Okay, so for the next build, we have something that's called the baby plane, and rightfully so. It's only 19 blocks, and it's really small. And you may be thinking, after looking at this, Zuggy, you had to build this. Like, you've had to build this whenever you just started the game or something. And no, I built this recently. I built this like a week ago. I saw someone flying around in like a really small plane, and I wanted to build my own, so I did. And if we get rid of the bombs here, and we just drop those aren't important, you can see it handles really well. It can go almost 200 studs per second, and I built this thing under 3 minutes, so there's no like fancy things about it. It's very plain, but it gets the job done, and it can make it through part of the canyon, which I think I'll go over and try. Okay, we're fall in the lava, but you guys could see that, like, it can almost kind of get through it. I've only seen one plane that someone's ever made get through that, but I'm pretty happy with this. Let's move on to the next build. Okay, guys, so for this next build, we're going to spawn in the Helicopter. This one is a complete tutorial build, except for the weapons on the side here and the color scheme. And the original one was made by Blue Blocks Gaming, so I'll leave a link to his channel and that video in the description. And you can see here, I have like speakers in it. Don't know if the video can actually pick it up because the sounds. I have my sound turned all the way down, but you can hear the helicopter moving. It has gun sounds. It can fire the rockets and do that stuff. It moves with the mouse, and it's very stable. And I mean, the original heli was just set up perfectly for me to add weapons to it. I mean, it gave me room on the side to put stuff. It's pretty solid. I'd like to shoot something down, so let me spawn back at base, and I'll see what I can do. So, for the next build, we have another helicopter. It's called Heli 2. Yesterday, in about like a few seconds, I just like threw together parts of like the basic parts of a helicopter that I know I need to have. So this one has like no tutorial whatsoever. The other one was completely tutorial, like the actual body of the helicopter. But this one, it's all me. It has some issues, some slight issues, like it looks like crap. That's the first issue. It has no weapons yet. It likes to turn slightly to the right as it goes, so you have to constantly keep adjusting it because it refuses to want to work with you. And I had to add a ballast block in the back just to balance it out. But I think whenever this thing is done, I could make it into a pretty cool helicopter. But as of right now, it's just a plain piece of garbage. Okay, so this next build is a BattleBot. Basically, a BattleBot. The BattleBots have strict regulations on the Playing Crazy Discord, which you guys should definitely join Playing Crazy's Discord if you play this game. But they used to host these tournaments where you'd have to build like a 10x10 bot with they only allowed like certain like a certain amount of cutters, and they had a lot of regulations for you to build your bot. But this is a completely legal bot, and if you wanted to enter my own tournament, which is on my Discord, link in the description, you could make a bot something like this, and it'd be completely legal. But this thing shreds through things. But I'm kind of tripping over my words here. But if something were to spawn in on the ground, I'd be able to show you better. But I mean, it has a motor 2 for an arm, and I mean, I can swing it around like this, and it just shreds through things. It handles pretty poorly, but it has decent armor around the wheels and that stuff to ensure that it doesn't die immediately in actual BattleBot combat. And yeah, I think that's about it for this BattleBot. I'll see if I can get someone to kill with it, but if I can't, we're just gonna move on to the next build. Wait, we have a target. We have a target. There we go, and it's gone. Bye-bye. Dude, it just got shredded. Wait, can I kill him too?
Why you bullying me?
Yep, killed him. This thing is really good. It would appear that before we move on to the next bot, I just saw this in chat. He's very upset that I killed him, but I also don't care. Now on to the next build. Okay, so the next build I have is called the Big Black Blender Bot. Kind of a mouthful to say, but basically the concept of it is pretty simple. You have a spinning blade on it. You have armor that folds out into the sides, so it stays within the 10x10 rule whenever it's not folded out, and then it can fold out, so it's still technically legal. So if anyone wants to enter my tournament, which, like I said, Discord link in the description, you can do stuff like this and add extra armor. But the weapons on this, it's pretty good. I don't think I'm actually going to be able to test it out on anything, as much as I would just love to and not get beamed off the map by a plane. Okay, but yeah, as much as I want to show off the weapons on this thing, because I mean, it shreds through things. It pretty much throws them more than it actually cuts them up. Oh wait, he's coming back in for oh, dude, you coward. But yeah, if I can, just like the other one, if I can't get a clip with killing someone with it, I'll just skip to the next build. But hopefully I can. Wait a minute, guys. So I just found a like just plane sitting here, so let's just destroy it. Yep, and see, it's already gone. This thing, the saw blade on it is so powerful, and I had to look around forever. That thing was just sitting here the entire time. I didn't even realize it, but now it's dead. Okay, guys, so this one's just called the Good Boat. I wouldn't say it's very good, but it's the only boat I've really ever built in this game, and it gets the job done. It can go on the water. It floats, as a boat should. But it's relatively weak with the weapons, and it's just really nothing special about it, so let's just get on to the next build. Okay, so this one's called the ZuggyJ, and as you can see, it's a small little jet. It's not going to be spawned there, because aircraft usually do not belong in the ocean, but we can spawn it at the base here. And actually press the right button, and we can start flying. So You can see there's motor 2 weapons on it, so I can actually aim. If we do this, there's like a little aiming reticle in the front to help me aim the rockets, which is not perfect, but this game isn't perfect, so suck it. And it can turn on a dime pretty much. It's similar to the other one. It has like the same controls as the jet I showed earlier in the video, but this one's just a little bit more recent. I don't particularly love the look of it, but it's very effective in combat, mainly because it's hard to shoot down, because when something turns like this and can do all sorts of cool tricks in the air and get stuck on the rails, it's pretty hard to shoot down. So let's move on to the next build. Okay guys, so this build right here, it's just called Tank, and as you can see, it's a tank, but I included locked motors on it so I could put multiple weapons in it at once. And my neighbor seemed to have spawned in, so I'm just gonna bop. Oh, he's not spawned. Okay, well he's sitting in the front seat. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't know how to spawn in. Maybe he's just some type of a noob. But as you can see, it has some control problems. Some serious control problems that I really need to work out. But it can fire multiple rockets off at once, and they all go together because it's locked. It's locked motors. They glitch into each other. It has a flame on the front of it, so it can also be a flamethrower tank, a flame tank, if you will. And well, someone spawned in right here, and they're about to. No, why did you despawn? I just want to show people my builds. Why does it have to take me 10 years to actually get a kill with any of these? Well, we're lighting up this plane over here. You'll see it's having a hard time starting to take off, but it has guns on it on the top. It has a flame on it. It has rockets on it. It's pretty deadly, and it can survive a few hits. The turret itself, I'd say, is pretty weak, but like, it usually takes a few good rocket shots to disable the tank. So I'd say it's pretty solid. Of course, I'm not even going to try to get any kills with it, but as you can imagine, that hitting something will destroy it. The flame will melt it. The bullets will just put holes in it. I'm going to die to this stupid plane, so I'm just going to despawn and go to the next build. Okay, guys, so this one is called the F1 car, and you'll never guess why. Because it's an F1 car.
Really,
I know.
nigga?
Real groundbreaking stuff here. It has a speaker inside of it that makes it sound like an actual F1 car, if you guys listen. And it can turn pretty well. It can go relatively fast. If you haven't watched my video from a few days ago where someone stole my build, this is what they stole, was this build. Because I let them, well, you guys can go watch the video for the story, but I let them copy the build. They said they were going to give me credit for it, and then they started taking credit for my build, so. But it uses a little bit, some rockets on the bottom. The rockets really don't actually do much to propel the car. It just helps it kind of stay way down because the extra weight. The wheels all work like they're supposed to, so they actually all like turn. The axle in the front actually turns. And then I have a conveyor engine that helps it go like super fast in the straightaways. And I have like little things in the back that like kind of indicate whenever I'm turning. So I think that's about it for the F1 car. I really like the look of it, and there will be a tutorial coming out on this on the channel at some point. I just don't know when yet. Now that we're on the topic of my vehicles that use conveyor engines, we have the Big D's Airlines. D's nuts, funny, haha.
Got him! Got him!
Basically, the door on the side here folds up and down. There's a conveyor engine in the back to help it go at like really high speeds. So if we start going here and then just gun it, it should work. And it also can take a hit if we get going at a certain speed here. You could see, oh, it didn't actually do any damage to the wings. Okay, whenever that explosive usually explodes, it can take off part of the wing, and this thing can still fly, and I was more or less doing that to show you how this thing works. So, let me respawn and show you. So, now we're missing an engine. I just blew it up. But you can still see, we're flying, well, we were flying okay until I accidentally hit that rock, which is entirely my fault. But you can see, we can still turn, we can still work, and I'm not even using the conveyor engine right now. The thing usually goes like 200 miles an hour, I mean 200 studs per second. So you can tell whenever I do the conveyor engine, because then we can start going like things like, you know, up to 600 studs per second, or even 700. But that's about it for this. So let's move on to the next vehicle. Oh, we're getting like, I think we're on like my final 5 or 6 builds here, and we're gonna show off the multi-stage rocket. This is a tutorial build, and the tutorial was made by Sticknub. I'll link him in the description, just like everyone else in this video that I've done tutorials of. Of course, it's modified to my liking, so it can do other things, but the concept is still the same. You can fly up, you can disconnect the rockets, have them hopefully not hit you, then you can disconnect the capsule on top, fly away. Then, when you get closer to the ground, you can push the parachute so you don't die. And parachute. Well, I didn't press it early enough, but who cares? I can maybe still get out of this. I kind of doubt it. Let's do this really fast so I can maybe get out. Just try to flip it over. There we go. Yeah, that works. It doesn't actually work, but you get the idea. The idea is there, and it works almost 100% of the time, but as soon as I turn on the camera, it doesn't. Now, I'm going to go show you guys my own version of this up next, because I liked this idea so much that I decided to make my own. Okay, guys, so this one is called the Fast Space Rocket, not to be confused with Space Rocket over here. This one has a conveyor engine in it that will allow it to go extremely fast and get up to actual rocket speed. And it locks together with a magnet. You fly up. And a lot of times it will glitch out, and it probably will glitch out this time because there's a lot of moving parts involved. So let's just pray it doesn't. Those parts will come off. Then they blow up because I don't want them to come up after me. Then if we press B, the conveyor engine turns on, which makes this go like extremely fast. But I'm not going to go all the way up. I just want to show you guys how this thing works basically. So we're going to slow it down, put the conveyor engine in reverse, pop the capsule off, nice and clean, and then blow that up, because why not? And then whenever we get close to the ground, I'll pull the parachute. Okay, well the parachute's been deployed successfully, and it'll just come nicely down to the ground and will allow us to get out. Of course, there's a good chance we might get blacklisted because all of our debris and that stuff is all over the place. But you know what? They can suck it up for 2 seconds. And we can also glitch out, which is really cool. Luckily, I have another parachute just in case something stupid like that happens. So now that we're on the ground, we disconnect the magnet. You press F. The pistons push apart the capsule. And then you walk out and run for it. And that's about it. So let's get on to, I think, my final 4 builds.
ZuggyJ's Top 4.
Okay, guys, coming in at number 4 on my top 4 final builds, well, I guess my just top 4 builds in general, is the RBCS Arena. It doesn't look that impressive at the moment, but just you wait. When I press all these buttons, it unfolds into a masterpiece. It is a full BattleBot arena designed for my tournament that you can join on my Discord. We don't have enough members to start the tournament yet, but it would be a real shame if I built this all for nothing. But it unfolds into this giant arena to which I can anchor that, turn on lights, turn on music, which it does have on there. Of course, it plays Enter Sandman from Metallica, but I don't really want to play it because copyright. And it has an air raid siren on the inside of it. And it has little flippers down on the bottom over here to flip your bot over. It has a bot grinder and a flamethrower. This thing is sick. It took me multiple days to create, and if you want to see this thing get used for proper tournaments, all you gotta do is go down into my Discord and join the tournament, because this thing is sick. Oh, I didn't even get to show all the extra stuff too. Show all the special effects, then kill the frame rate. Oh yeah, frame rate's going down. Frame rate's dropping. But yeah, it has all this sick stuff on there. If you want to make sure that this thing gets put to use, you gotta join the tournament in my Discord. Discord will be linked in the description down below. Please go check it out. I'm begging you. Anyways, let's move on to the number 3 in my top 4. Coming in at number 3 on my list is the drone. This one's just called drone on the save screen, and what is it? It's just a big drone with a lot of weapons. It can handle very well. It's very stable. I wouldn't say it's the fastest thing in the world, but it can get me around relatively quickly. It's relatively hard to bring down, and even if you do shoot it down, there's an anchor block inside, so I can just anchor up and just start shooting at you. And this thing's pretty much a beast. And to be honest, I mean, you may be thinking, how can it get much better from here? Well, my next two builds are way better at PvP than this one. And let's move over to the number 2 on my list. Coming in at the number 2 spot on my top 4 list here, this is the Satellite. It has an entire video dedicated to it on my channel where I show off all of its features and all of its stuff that it can do. It has good protection on it. It has anti-air stuff. It has a fighter drone in the back. It has 9 rockets that I can control each one of them. You can launch each one of them individually. And you can also blow them all up individually, like that. Oh, it's not actually showing it up blowing up for you guys, but if I change camera views, you'll see that there are pieces falling down to Earth. I can blow up, let's spawn 8, and do right this. And you can see they all blow up individually. You can spawn the drone in the back, and it can fall out and go all the way back down to Earth and fight. I mean, this thing is an actual beast. It's better than the drone because it's kind of hard to shoot down. Even if you find it in the sky, which is hard enough as is, it's almost impossible to beat in actual combat. And with all the extra stuff that it can send back down to Earth, it's just incredible. So let's move on to my number 1 build. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you my number 1 build. This is what we call the GIGA bug. Mainly because it's a shredder bug, but on crack. You can see from up here in the front, it has all the guns you could ever need, has 4 rockets, has cutters lined all around it. It's insanely hard to take down, it goes at fast speeds, and if we go spawn it in, away from all this chaos over here, I can show you how it works in PvP. This thing is a literal beast. I mean, it turns on a dime, like a lot of my other builds. But you pretty much just aim like this. I mean, you just point your mouse and hope for the best. And I mean, this stupid... Right now I'm having this glitch with this stupid game in this lobby where normally my bug does not shake like this. But this server seems to be wanting to do that to me, so who cares. But, I mean, look, they have like a little army of little guys over here. Just fire that into there and then just run into it at full speed, and you just tear through these things. And this thing is just a monster. I barely ever get shot down in this thing. And, I mean, it just goes to show, it turns so well. It's so fast. It's so maneuverable. And look, after all of that crap just running through them, we barely lost, like, any pieces, if any. And you see builds like this down here, you just run into them at full speed, and I just took off a bunch of pieces from him. Like, he's still going to probably be able to fly, but you can just see what I'm getting at here. You have a boat in the water. Water is not this thing's specialty, but I can launch some rockets at it, and if they hit, yep, they hit. Just tear it apart. This thing is a literal beast. I've seen people try to recreate it, try to do it like I did it, and it never seems to work as well as mine, so I'm very, very proud of this build. So, I think that's about it for today's video. If you enjoyed my me showing off all my builds, make sure to like the video, leave a comment on the video saying which build was your favorite, and see if I got my top 4 right. And I think that's about it. See you all next time. Goodbye.